Hello again, my Five Nights at Freddy movie fans. It really wasn't that long ago since the last time I gave you an update on this movie, but even more juicy stuff has come out. Things we're going to be discussing here today, guys, is we have a new cast member added on into the movie who looks to be playing a quite pivotal role that fans should be familiar with, but the set photo a lot of us were waiting for, our first leaked look to one of the animatronic puppets being used in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, Freddy Fazbear himself. So be sure you wonderful people are leaving your opinions down below with everything we discuss here today. Hit that like button, man. Subscribe if you haven't already, and well, let's just dive into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to discuss here today is the newly added cast member of Christian Stokes, who has been added on to the Five Nights at Freddy's movie as the character of Hank. And I tell you, man, this is just how you can tell fans have been desperate for any little detail on this movie with the decade-long wait that it took, because we quickly had fans Googling things like, what are nicknames for Henry? And sure enough, Hank popped up. And usually I would dismiss this behavior as crazy nonsensical, like, guys, come on, now we're really gonna make that level of a stretch, but this is the second person to have a nickname that is also related to a familiar name in the FNAF world. I talked about it in my previous video that I think Abby is a shortened down name for Elizabeth, which is Elizabeth Afton in the games, so I don't put it past them to just kind of continuously do this with other important characters in the FNAF movie that Hank could actually be playing Henry Emily. Now, for those of you not too familiar, Henry Emily is the business partner of William Afton, being played by our Mathew Lillard, and let me tell you guys, you can tell these bros deserve to be business partners. Look at the way they take selfies. I always wanted to fit in high school, so let me join this trend. But Henry Emily is one of the people responsible for helping William Afton build a lot of these animatronic puppets. From my understanding of the games, Henry Emily was the genius in that department and ended up teaching William Afton a lot of things he knew about engineering and making animatronics. Even if we go off some of the descriptions that we've had about Henry Emily from other source materials in the FNAF world, it does say he's going to be rocking a beard. And I gotta tell you, this actor right here is rocking a pretty sweet one. He even released a video that I wish I could play for you guys, but it's playing the Halloween theme music in the background. That would copy strike this video. But even from these little tidbits of videos that he released from fans, he seems so grateful and happy to be on the set and part of this movie. Like, he even made once a video talking about he's never had a trailer on set that had its own bathroom, that this is a big step in his career, and it like really does give me sweet innocent man vibes, which is kind of what you need for Henry Emily. I know there's a debate online amongst fans whether Henry Emily was just as evil as William Afton, but for now, and just introducing him into this movie, I think he's got to be a sweet man. But the other thing I want to talk about with this casting that I think also could tie into the set photo we're about to discuss is, if you're a fan of the lore and the history with Henry Emily and William Afton, you know there's some big drama that happens between them. In the games, it's later revealed that William Afton kills the daughter of Henry Emily, his business partner, aka Charlotte, or as people just call her, Charlie, where she goes on to haunt then one of the animatronic puppets in the game. And this still brings up the question to me, how much from the games are they going to remain faithful into the movie adaptation? Is that storyline something they plan to do in the movie? That's kind of like a big part of their relationship and one of the things that causes the most amount of friction between them. But okay, putting pause on this theory because I want to expand it further as we look at this set photo here. Blumhouse and their crew are still hard at work at this physical location where they have built up their own Freddy Fazbear pizzeria. Still kind of wild to me that they just decided to film this highly anticipated movie in public where people can drive by and take photos like this, where we got our first look at an animatronic puppet that is obviously supposed to be a version of Freddy Fazbear. Now, it is kind of a far away shot, and the more we zoom in, the photo does get blurry, but that's all we need right now as fans, is just a little taste of this movie until they finally give us an official reveal, whether that be in a teaser or maybe they release their own HD photo. But Jim Henson's Creature Shop right here, that seems like they did a bang up job. I knew they were gonna knock it out of the park, and even just from this grainy look, I think I'm gonna love the designs that they've made because they look super faithful to that of the video games. Now, a couple of things we want to notice from this set photo here is fans were quick to point out, I'm not seeing no white gloves, guys. That was a major topic of debate whenever they first revealed the Freddy Fazbear sign that would be on the pizzerias. Why is Freddy Fazbear rocking white gloves? That's not in the video game. That's not in the lore. This movie's ruined. So it looks like there were some people who were right that it was just for the sign used on the pizzeria and it wasn't actually going to be part of the animatronics. So now it's still up for debate whether Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, or all these other characters will be rocking white gloves. Like I said, it doesn't bother me either way. If anything, I kind of would have liked it, because then we could have a big differentiation on animatronics from the movies to the games. But anyone who was super pissed about those white gloves, I mean, there you go, man. You happy? Also loving the height of the animatronic that they chose here. It looks taller than the average human, but not like gigantic. The other topic of debate going on right now, though, is which version of Freddy is this? Because of the specific lighting, the photo, and the grainy look, you know, people are going, is this Freddy Fazbear, the one that's usually portrayed as brown, and we just have the excessive lighting kind of making him come off look a little yellow? Or is this actually Fredbear / Golden Freddy, one of the early versions of Freddy Fazbear that was first released in Fredbear's Family Diner alongside Spring Bonnie? My instinct was to go that this is just Freddy Fazbear and the lighting is making him look yellow, but then I look at the actual physical location and how much it's changed over the course of the production. When we first saw the pizzeria, it was looking pretty usable, like someone could mistake it for an actual open establishment, walk in and then, you know, get some pizza and then a jump scare from one of the animatronics. They had cameras rolling like that for a little bit, even would turn on the sign at night, and then as the days continued on, they changed the outside look. They started adding vines and grass, making it look weathered down and old, even putting up boarded up windows. And when you do changes like that, well then that's pretty obvious, right? We're gonna have flashbacks to the early days of this pizzeria, see an incident that goes down in it, whether that be the deaths of the 5 children that haunt the animatronics, or the bite of 83 where a kid ends up dying inside one of the animatronics. It got the place shut down, then several decades later, this happens to the establishment, and our story will continue picking up from there. That's kind of what makes me think that this particular animatronic here could actually be Fredbear. Because again, I don't know how much of this movie they're going to be extremely faithful to things that happen in the games. For all we know, this could be the first restaurant. This could actually be in place of Fredbear's Family Diner, and if that's the case here, then you would need to start off with Fredbear. We know they got to introduce Spring Bonnie somewhere in there if they want to have Mathew Lillard be in there for 3 movies. And on that subject of changing things from the games into the movies, I mentioned how we have the introduction now of Henry Emily. If Hank does turn out being Henry Emily, which I do believe he will be, if they give him that whole dead daughter storyline in here, I wouldn't be surprised if they replace her usual animatronic puppet she haunts with maybe Fredbear. Because I know Golden Freddy usually is haunted by a little girl named Cassidy, who plays a big part in trying to go after William Afton and get revenge herself. I think for the movie's sake and keeping things a little bit more simple and not having too many different storyline and characters out there, they could replace Cassidy's storyline with that of Charlie's and maybe give her the Fredbear suit. Again, that's just a theory. If you don't like that, hey, I understand, but you gotta be ready for some change, because they're not gonna keep things exactly like the game. They're gonna make some big changes to the lore so it's easily digestible to new audiences who've never played a game, watch a Markiplier playthrough, or even watched a MatPat Theory video. Really though, it's just exciting to see an actual animatronic outside the actual pizzeria. Like, this is an iconic image. It makes you think, what are they even filming? Like, are they just trying to get a shot of this bear walking up to the pizzeria itself? Is it gonna be running around the building? So many things to obviously wonder about, but this is where I throw it off to you guys. You now see our first set photo of an animatronic puppet on the set of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. How are you feeling about it? I'd also love to know your theories and speculation on how maybe they could change some of the lore up to make it more digestible for general audiences. Are they gonna give Henry Emily that daughter storyline? Anything and everything, be sure and leave your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at 3C Films or on TikTok at 3C Films. But as always, I'm Chris. Take care.